Hello chess players, Max Murray here, bringing you another miniature chess game to be analyzed by Stockfish on my chess.com account. I am reclined comfortably in this armchair while I do it. A miniature chess game is a game that concludes in 20 moves or less. They tend to be highly instructional. This particular game was played in the 1860s in London between a chess master named Taylor and an amateur. The game begins with Taylor as white playing e4, best as test, and the amateur playing as black responds classically with e5 in the center. Taylor continues with knight to f3, putting pressure on black's e5 pawn, and black responds in kind with the Petrov defense, knight to f6. The Petrov defense has been quite topical recently due to a resurgence in its use by the Chinese, who have analyzed this particular opening to a great degree. So, how does Taylor proceed here? Well, he gambits the pawn by playing bishop to bishop 4 or bishop to c4 if you prefer. The amateur takes the bait. Knight takes pawn, which is the best move in the position. And white replies knight to queen's bishop 3 or knight to c3, putting pressure on the knight on the e4 square. Here, the amateur goes wrong for the first time and plays a blunderous move, knight to c5. This gives away a free pawn to Taylor, who is also enjoying quite a lead in development here. The way to beat an amateur is open lines and rapid development. Here comes the first strike. Bang, knight takes pawn, attacking the soft underbelly of black's initial opening array, the f7 pawn, which is protected by one piece and one piece only, the king. Now the bishop and the knight both have pressure against that f7 pawn. Black replies with f6. This is 1860, long before Ben Feingold, the contemporary chess master, admonished us all to never, ever play f6. Now, here comes the fireworks. Queen to h5 check. And at this point in the game, Taylor, the master, announced mate in 8. Here we go. It's a king hunt. Pawn to g6, interposing between the king and the queen. Bishop to the soft point, f7 check. Now the king is forced to move. He can't capture the bishop, obviously, as it's protected by the knight. The second white knight now comes swooping in like a hawk. Knight to d5 check. It's the best move in the position, and it's going to force the king completely out of his spider hole. King to d6. The move is forced. Knight to c4 check. Again, attacking the king. He cannot capture the white knight on the d5 square because it is protected by the bishop, and therefore must flee to the c6 square, where another check is awaiting him from the pair of marauding and rampaging knights. Knight to b4 check. The king is now forced to run out into the open. He's hanging out on the b5 square here, and it's quite interesting to note how all the other pieces, with the sole exception of black's knight on c5, are on their starting squares. Pawn to rook 4 check. The king can make only one move here. He takes the knight. Now black is up materially, but still it's going to be mate in 2 from here. See if you can find the mate in 2. I'll give you a moment to pause the video. And here we go, mate in 2. Starting with c3 check. King goes to b3. And now the mate, it's quite poetic. Chess is a beautiful game. The queen comes back to her starting squares on d1 and administers the checkmate. The king cannot capture any of white's protected pieces, nor can he find a free square to move to that is not under threat by a white piece. Check and mate ends the game. If you enjoyed this miniature, I plan to do many more in the future, so please like and subscribe and do all those good things. Have a great day.